It's time for the 259 Show, a weekly podcast that can be found on our website at www.the259show.com or on Facebook and Twitter at the 259 Show. Today's hosts are Joe Peachy.
No, I haven't contacted Michelle because she'd be on the next flight to New York City. So.
Mike Vincelli.
Chelsea's not a girl. This is the name of a soccer club.
Hate you, Chelsea. Broke my heart.
Tyler Diedrich.
I wonder if they have waffles. Ha ha ha. They do.
And Andy Fowler.
Out of all of us here, I feel like I'm balding the most. I got a big spot up on top, and by growing it out, I feel like I'm trying to cover it.
Here's your host, Andy Fowler.
Welcome to the 259 Show, this Saturday, August 5th edition. I'm Andy Fowler, in studio, Mike Vincelli, Tyler Diedrich, wife Amanda Diedrich, live in the 259 studio. Joe Peachy joining us from the Flower City Printing Hotline from Astoria, New York.
Wait, is she wife of the whole 259 show? Or
No.
She is all our wives. Sister wife.
Oh!
It was a funny.
Thank
You forgot to mention Amanda Jr.
Oh, Baby Diedrich.
Yeah.
Not in the studio,
First time at
but
the studio.
in the studio.
Yeah. First time in the studio.
Yeah.
Inside the womb, inside the studio.
Oh boy.
Live from the womb.
The wheels on the bus are in motion. It is episode number 36. Jerome Bettis.
Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
The bus.
Yeah, the bus.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Big episode today. A lot to talk about.
Huge.
Probably the cornerstone of the episode this week is the power ranking topic. Tyler, it was your choice this week. What did you choose?
The best sporting events you have ever attended.
Best sporting events you have ever attended. We'll get to that about halfway through the program. A couple other things that we'll get to today. Rochester, New York. It's kind of in the mainstream sporting news because Bill's training camp is in town. Brings some sports, bigger sports names to town. And mainly talking about the garbage plate. There was a sports reporter in town this past week talking about being in Rochester. So we'll say, what should they do when they come to Rochester? We'll get to that. Looks like some food talk here, like we always do on top of the program. When are we going to help me move? We'll talk about the transition of Studio A to Studio B. Unpopular opinions this week, a doofus of the week, and then we'll finish with some airtime. But first off, how is everybody doing?
How are you doing, Amanda?
Ladies first?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. It's hot and stuff, but ice cream helps.
Has the air conditioning units been running over at the Orchard?
Oh yeah.
Have to be, right?
Oh yeah. Definitely. Otherwise, I would probably just cry all the time. So, you know.
Has the most important question, has Tyler been being the nurturing husband? Has he been rubbing your ankles?
No.
Is he bringing you food in bed?
He's bringing me a lot of food, which is great.
Mostly ice cream sandwiches.
Mostly ice cream
Do most
sandwiches.
of those pieces of food have a nibble taken out of them?
Well, no, a lot of
Tyler
times...
samples all of them just to make sure they're still good.
Well, when
Got it. You have to.
no, well, you kind of do sample
Well, a
my
lot
stuff.
of
I
times
have
I'll
to-
give you
Let me
a little
I
bit
have to
extra.
tell him not to
Tyler
eat my
said-
food all the
Tyler
time.
brings you an article of food, a piece of food, and he says, "Oh, I wanted to see what this tasted like, so I bought this food for you. Here you go."
One time he offered me that cotton candy sauce.
Awful.
I kind of wanted to yak on him, but you know.
A lot of times, like, if you want a bowl of cereal or something, I'll pour a little extra in there so I can take a few bites and then give it to you.
Yeah, but I have to tell you not to eat my food all the time. You can't eat a pregnant woman's food. It's rude.
Is this relationship counseling that we're witnessing right now?
No!
To be fair, many
Dr. Drew.
times you'll have like a big plate of food because you order way too much anytime we go anywhere.
Yeah.
So that, and then you'll, rather than like offering me your leftovers, which is like half a meal, you will just like put your napkins in there like you're gonna throw it away and not.
That's
bring
not uncommon because Tyler does the same thing to me when I go out to eat. When I don't finish my meal, he'll dive right in.
I usually save it for later if I don't finish it.
Tyler,
But there have
In
been
college,
times
Tyler,
like, nah, I don't
we
want.
would
I
go
don't want
eat lunch and dinner
I don't
together.
wanna get
Tyler
to
would be sitting across the table from me and just kind of like move his fork over
yeah.
my plate and be like, "Oh, Joe, don't mind me taking a bite out of your food. I see
Yeah.
you got what I wanted to get. I didn't get it because I can't predict why he wouldn't get the food he wants. But
Because then I would get everything at the Hickey Dining Hall at St. Bonaventure University. I
So
would
you'll
want to
just
put
sample
everything
it.
there on my plate.
You'll just sample.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone knows I'm big on food sampling, so.
Yeah, I've just kind of come to accept that part of our marriage. Like, it is what it is.
He's always been doing that. I remember going over your house for dinner as a kid, and like some nights you'd have pizza, and I'd like get up to grab a drink or something, and half of my toppings on my slice would be gone. Tyler's greasy fingers.
You can eat that
first-
crust?
Oh yeah,
First
or
thing
the
Michelle
crust.
Peach
I
ever
always
said
had to
about
give my
Tyler
crust
Dietrich.
up.
Wow. That kid just makes himself feel right at home. Because I think the first time he ever came to my house, we had walked there after middle school. Tyler beelined it straight for the fridge, opened it up, and kind of just made himself at home.
Tyler, how you doing, buddy?
I've gotten better at that. I don't break right into people's fridges or cupboards anymore, unless given permission, and then I will.
Yeah, you don't read my parents' fridge
No.
or cupboards or anything.
No.
So
I raid my parents,
yes,
and they're fine with it.
I think they purposely put stuff out
Do
for
they
you.
still have a fridge in the garage?
No, it's in the downstairs bar area now.
Because when there was a fridge in the garage, every time I would stop over, I would see what juice box or
Whatever.
what do they call it?
Capri
Ice?
Sun.
What pop was left over from our most recent grad party?
10 years ago. Tyler, how you doing? What's new? What's going on?
Got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Having some plumbing issues at home. We're gonna have to get that fixed soon. So if
Like
anyone knows a good
internal,
plumber,
like with the house or with you personally?
Tyler's going to get home to a 3-foot-high flooded basement. But the 259 show just had to be done.
yeah.
Michael?
No plumbing problems, so that's good.
Oh.
Doing well.
Good.
Enjoying the summer, kinda.
And Joe, how about you over in the Flower City Printing Hotline?
What's
from
summer?
Yeah.
Astoria.
I'm doing great. I'm fresh off a vacation down to Outer Banks, North Carolina. I got some good food things to talk about based on that trip.
Yeah, you're
Thanks
welcome,
to
by
your
the way.
recommendation.
I didn't even know you were going. You gotta let me know anytime you go to North Carolina.
He did.
I usually do,
Yeah.
and I meant to send you a picture of the barbecue. I had East Carolina barbecue, and it was tasty. Jim and Nick's biscuits too.
Yeah, it might have been a better idea not to, because I would have showed it to Amanda, then she would have gotten upset. And
It would have been a thing.
Tyler would have
yeah.
to fly down to North Carolina, bring back some.
I'm gonna go
Give me
visit
some
Joe.
of that
real-
vinegar barbecue. I need it.
our baby needs it too. Perhaps more importantly.
She hasn't tried it yet.
So you're listening to the 259 show, the Saturday, August 5th edition, episode number 36. Comes to you Saturday mornings on our website, the259show.com, Facebook and Twitter at the259show, and our friends at villageradio.net, Saturday nights and Sunday mornings. Let's dive right into it. Ian Rappaport was in town? Is that what you heard, Mike?
He's heading into town. He
He's
was at
heading
Colts
to
camp, and he was on the Rich Eisen show today, and I was listening during work.
He's a reporter for the NFL Network, for those who don't
Yep,
know.
NFL Insider. So Rich was asking upcoming camps he's heading to, and when he stopped at the Bills camp, he actually talked about Rochester, New York a little bit.
Hey!
He said he's excited to get into Rochester, and he's trying a garbage plate for the first time.
Did he
Which is
mention
pretty
where he
cool.
was getting the plate from? That's
No.
very important.
Probably some place out in Pittsford, which probably...
You know what? I don't think it really matters, though, because to anyone, a garbage plate from anywhere is going to be a unique experience if they're coming to Rochester for the first time, or eating one for the first time at least.
They're not as picky about them,
Right.
perhaps.
It's kind of a
It's
testament.
hard to screw up one.
Yeah, testament to the food we have around here. Because I remember last year Peter King was on an ESPN show or on Dan Patrick talking about also coming to the Bills camp, and he was asked who has the best food on the whole training camp route. And he said Rochester, New York. There's a place in Pittsburgh that has this blackberry milkshake or whatever.
Probably Pittsburgh.
You know where he probably went? He probably went to Pittsford Farms Dairy. That place is out of this world.
He
good.
tweets or writes about that like every year when he comes to training camp, which
Yeah.
is almost every
It was
year.
kind of cool. So that's why I kind of thought, like, what's Rochester best known for today?
Well, we talked about it a couple weeks, or maybe a month or two ago now. Dan Patrick's show references Jenny Beer at least 2-3 times a year. Just, when they're talking about different beers and whatnot.
The cream ale.
I think the first two things that anyone thinks about when they think about Rochester, if it's someone who's not from here, is the garbage plate and the crappy weather, the harsh winters.
Well, and then historically, if you're thinking about it, Bausch and Lomb was pretty. They were pivotal in helping with the nuclear bomb, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think the mainstream society thinks of Bausch and Lomb.
No, I know,
any
but I mean,
time.
if you're thinking of like
No.
on a scale of like big magnitude, I think some of the businesses are very popular.
Yeah, but I don't think when people think of Rochester, they think of those businesses, or when they think of those businesses,
They
I don't think
necessarily
they
think
think.
of Rochester.
But yeah, like if someone from Washington D.C. thinks about Wegmans, they don't go, "Oh, Rochester."
They just think Wegmans is
Right.
amazing.
But what are we best known for? I think a few decades, 3 or 4 decades ago, it would be Kodak. wouldn't
It's
you
definitely.
say?
I think Kodak is probably number 3 on that
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
that I
Not
just
anymore
mentioned.
though. No one would.
I think they still do. They might if they think of Rochester first, rather than thinking
Yeah.
of things that are from Rochester. I think Kodak is high on that list, even though it's not as prominent as it used to be.
Xerox too, though. They used to Xerox machines. That's what people would refer to them.
Yeah,
as.
you would say when you were going to make a copy of something, you're going to Xerox it.
Yeah.
It kind of became
Yeah.
a term you would say.
I don't think people think of Rochester though when they think of making a Xerox.
Yeah, I think Tyler's right on that one because unless if you're from Rochester, you won't know that Xerox is a Rochester. Like another brand name that we use for an item like Kleenex. Does that tell you any city? Just
Right.
off the top
Yeah,
of your head?
or
We don't know.
Band-Aid.
Well, that's not what the question was. It was what are we best known for, not necessarily what makes you think of Rochester. Which are these things?
Right,
I don't
because
think any of them.
Mike, I wanted to say, whenever I mention a garbage plate to anyone around this area, any of the teachers I work with, they don't have a clue what I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
they sure as heck don't think of Rochester. But I think if you were to ask anybody from Rochester what is the one Rochester thing that maybe you're most proud of, I would say maybe they would mention a garbage plate.
I would agree.
I think Wegmans.
I think
is right up
Wegmans would be
there.
Well,
number one.
Wegmans,
I,
yeah.
if that's the question that you're asking, which Joe just said, then I say yes. It would probably be Wegmans. If you're asking anyone from anywhere, the first thing they think of when they think of Rochester, I think the most common response would be the garbage plate. But if you were to ask people from Rochester what they're most proud of, I think they would say Wegmans.
Yeah, no, I'm going to change my answer. Yeah, I would say Wegmans definitely is my most proud Rochester thing.
I think you'd have to be really familiar with the Rochester area to know a garbage plate, though. It's not a food that's just common knowledge.
I just think if someone says, I'm going to Rochester for the first time, people are going to say, oh, you got to try a garbage plate.
Yeah, if they're familiar with it, yeah.
Yeah.
I say that, and you got to go to Wegmans.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Rochester surprisingly gets a lot of pub in the sports world on the shows I listen
You're
to,
right.
which is kind of cool.
Jenny
Well, they
Beer's
did have a sports team before, so it's not like, I mean, Rochester, Royals?
Yeah.
The Royals.
Yeah.
The ABA. Interesting. Now they'll be in town for maybe 2.5 more weeks? Was that as long as training camp goes here?
Something like that. It's not as long as it usually is this year.
No.
There's only like 14 practices at training camp this year.
And they've moved a couple practices back to Buffalo too. So
Yeah.
maybe the decline of Buffalo Bill football
We'll
in
see.
Rochester.
And I think kind of holds up that the Red Wings are for a day are the Rochester plates. So garbage plates being the most
I
most
need to
popular
get
thing
I need to
from
get one of those
Rochester, I
hats, by
guess.
the way.
While we're on the topic of the Rochester Red Wings, I was out there Monday this past week picking up tickets for Hilton Palmer Rock. And I was looking at their promo calendar. August 23rd, it's back to school night with Mr. Building.
No way.
Mr. Building's going to throw out the first
Is
pitch.
Zack Attack playing at Seventh Inning Stretch?
I have no idea. But,
AC Slater on the hill.
that
tonight.
guy's really hurting for money, though, if he's going to
He
AAA
blew up.
baseball.
He's huge.
Is Screech coming too?
I doubt it.
I saw
Screech has had some issues.
In jail. Yeah.
So,
Screech.
that's funny. So, Buffalo Bill football here in Rochester, some national media. Does ESPN still send the bus out to camp?
Who knows? I don't watch ESPN, so
I
don't
haven't
know.
watched ESPN in probably 2.5 years now, as far as like regular coverage.
All right, let's move on then.
Yeah, let's move on from that. Food talk. I went to Foster's this past week. Foster's.
How was it?
We went Wednesday night for steak night for just under $15 steak, a baked potato.
Did you say $115?
No,
That must have been quite a steak.
Under $1,500. $1,500. Here we go. You got me saying it. Under $15. Steak, a baked potato, side salad. a drink.
Soup.
It's pretty good. No, it was split pea ham soup.
Ooh.
No,
Oh, that
thanks.
sounds good.
Tyler, go get Amanda a split
Well, I
pea.
don't want it right now. It's like 80
At the
out.
tops.
It was fine. The service wasn't slow. Like, was it Jeff that said that?
That was us. We went on a
Yes.
Saturday. You went on a Wednesday, so it might have been.
Yeah, but
different.
it was like 6:30 at steak night. I would admit it was pretty big.
Well, how was the crowd?
There was like maybe one or two tables open, and we sat in the side area, not in the back.
Do they renovated the inside or
I don't
I
think
wouldn't
so.
say renovated, but they did.
They cleaned it up a
Yeah.
little bit,
gave it a facelift?
Yeah.
but pretty good. We'll go back.
Did you put ketchup on your steak?
Yeah, they got a lot of good stuff on the menu there.
Hey,
Oh, you're a steak sauce
Oh,
guy, aren't you?
Yeah. Update for you. Mike.
Wait, Michael, do you put ketchup on your steak?
No, Tyler does.
No, he doesn't.
God.
Tyler doesn't really eat steak anyway, so.
Or you
Update,
said you used to put ketchup on your steak, yeah. No, I just go plain steak.
update for you, Mike. I had Italian sausage over at Sam's house this past week.
Tell me you just did mustard.
2 out of 4 of us had ketchup on the Italian sausage, so 50% over there. Just saying.
All right.
But Foster's, highly recommend it in town if you're looking for something to eat.
Is it better than Carms in your opinion?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But then again, I haven't had Carms in a long time. My mom
Yeah.
had the chicken Foster. She said, well, it's named after the restaurant.
Which
We'll
was
try
the
that.
chicken Dakota.
Yeah.
After Dakota.
She likes it a lot. So we'll go back. I want to try the chicken parm at some point.
Oh, chicken parm was great.
That's what I heard.
I'm still thinking about it.
Tyler, go get Amanda chicken parm and split pea ham soup.
We had the greens and beans soup with sausage. That was pretty good.
And Joe, you went to a place off of my recommendation while you were down
Yeah,
there.
man. I think when you found out I was going to be down in OBX, I think you sent me a text message in all capitals.
OBX, man.
No, you
Go-
sent me a picture of a place, and it happened to be next door.
Yes.
I can't
yes,
remember
did.
what that picture
I did.
was.
It said, "Try my." I don't want to say anything inappropriate, but it said, "Try my nuts."
You're going to love our nuts.
So,
And it was a.
Why didn't you text me that
nut-based
picture?
Store. But after I sent you that picture, Drew, you were and sent me in all caps. You need to go to Duck Donuts right now. And actually, I had planned on going there because I've heard nothing but good things from
Wonderful
you.
things.
Is that just in
Dude.
North Carolina?
Virginia, North Carolina, it's in your favorite.
So it's like Bojangles.
Your favorite
Yeah.
states.
And I think the one we went to was a smaller of the chain. There wasn't any sitting room. It was.
No, they're all like
Pretty-
that, Joe. There's no place.
Are they all like that? I mean, that doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. Why
No.
don't you give somebody a place to sit?
You go outside, you eat your donut.
It's hot. I don't want to sit in the AC.
Oh, grow up.
Okay, so Duck Donuts, though, for those of you who don't know, it is obviously a donut shop, but they create the donuts on site. You order it, and there's just so many things you can put on it. I got the strawberry with rainbow sprinkles, but you can get vanilla, cinnamon, sugar, chocolate. You can get Oreos, peanuts, chocolate sprinkles, chopped nuts, a whole bunch of stuff. The special was the maple bacon, which I took a small bite out of because Aaron's dad got that, and it was
Wait, you took a bite out of Aaron's dad's donut?
he gave me
You're
a
like
piece.
Tyler.
He cut it up.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Joe Dino.
No,
You only got one
I was
donut?
like, oh, let me take a nibble.
Yeah.
And then I was just
Wait, you only got
gave me
one?
a piece of it. But this place was out of this world good.
How many donuts did you have, bud?
Yeah.
I had, I would say, when you add it all up, about 2.
Because usually when my brother Mike and I go, there was one maybe 10 minutes from his house in Charlottesville when he was down there. We would get a 6-pack of donuts.
Split a six-pack.
And it would,
Yeah, I would
it
say
usually involved
between
eating
me,
one in the store,
Aaron.
one in
Right.
the car, and one when you get home.
Oh, that sounds
It's
weird.
necessary.
Wait, so it's
I think
custom
you
donuts?
I think you
Fresh.
have to eat
Fresh.
one right when you get it because they make them fresh. So they're warm, and it's just...
You
It
watch
was
them
very,
come off the
very
conveyor
good.
belt. They dip them in whatever and then top them with whatever and put them right in the box. And
Joe, donuts are great, but more importantly, how was the barbecue?
I'm not done on the donut.
Let me get
talk,
to
by
it.
the way.
So hold on. We're still talking. In my opinion, donuts is one of the greatest food groups of all time.
I agree.
I agree.
But yeah, I
barbecue?
tried. So I had the strawberry with rainbow sprinkles. I tried a little bit of the maple bacon, and then I had just like a powdered sugar.
Mm-hmm.
But that when it was warm is just like it was awesome. Like a cider fried cake from Zarpentine.
So wait, you got a strawberry donut with rainbow sprinkles?
I like fruit.
Are you a girl?
I don't care. I'll get the girly tasting stuff any day of the week.
So the nearest Deck Donuts to Hilton, New York is in either Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, which is like Main Street. When you go down south, you go through Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I used to go there all the time.
So that's where actually Sam and I stopped on our way down to North Carolina this past year.
Dang.
But all over PA, pretty much the southeastern quadrant of PA, it looks like there's a ton in the capital area, and then scattered throughout Virginia and North Carolina.
Speaking of,
And you know what? And the prices
Hot
aren't
Lanta, too.
insane because you would think for like a crazy specialty good donut, they might like jack it up the price like $4 a donut. They're like $1.30 for a donut, and a half a dozen was $7. It wasn't too bad.
Not bad at all.
I like that.
speaking of donuts in Western Pennsylvania, Amanda and I stopped at a place at the Grove City Outlet Mall. What was the name of it?
Peace, love, and little donuts.
Or as I call it, the Hippie Donut Shack. And that was good. We have to get
It was
back to
dang
this.
good.
Some warm little donuts. You could get like all kinds of crazy crap on it.
Yeah, I got the Samoa kind, and it was amazing.
That sounds good.
And-
Samoa.
Joe,
Yeah.
when you first said Duck Donuts, I thought of Duke's Donuts, which is a local food truck, which I have had before. It's based out of First Bible Baptist Church, actually, right over here on Mantle Road. Oh man, those are delicious. Those are warm and melt in your mouth and succulent. And I think it's at the
We
public
still
market.
talking about donuts?
So if you're ever at the public market, check out Duke's Donuts.
Is there such thing as a cornbread donut?
Oh man, I hope so. Maybe we should invent it.
Topped with barbecue
dude.
sauce?
Why we have like the
cornbread
best?
truck?
We come up with the best business ideas every week.
The
Someday
best.
we're gonna follow through
Can
on
we
one.
trademark this one?
We're gonna do Uber for a moving company. We're gonna be like the Uber moving company.
What would we call that one? Uber?
Druber.
Druber?
Druber's moving
Movers.
company. Hey, there we
Have you
go.
been drubering much lately?
No, not this past week.
Yeah, Druber's.
I'm busy.
Druber's. Say that again.
Drubers, movers.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah, that's tough.
Boobers. and then we're gonna have a cornbread donut food truck on the side also. So yeah.
I dig it.
If you
Cool.
won the lottery, that's what you're doing.
Hey. Joe, the barbecue.
Yes. So
Tell us.
the night that I flew into Outer Banks,
Which
the
airport did you
dinner
fly into?
And the reason why I was there was because it was a huge family reunion with Aaron's family, and so that night everybody picks a night and they bring dinner, and that night was Aaron's family's night, her immediate family, and they chose some East Carolina barbecue. And for those of you who aren't super familiar with why you would call it East Carolina barbecue,
Toad.
it is very vinegar-based barbecue, meaning it's the sauce, the barbecue sauce they use is real thin, but it's got a very distinct taste to it. And I got some pulled pork.
And it's mostly pork based, by the way.
But down
Well,
there it's
I
called
think,
chopped
good-
barbecue.
Thank you. So the East Carolina barbecue is a lot of pulled pork stuff.
Chopped
Ty?
pork.
Chopped pork.
Gotcha. Chopped
Well, it might
pork.
have been. Well, there's actually
So-
like 3 different kinds of North Carolina barbecue, but we don't need to get into that right now. So continue, Joe. Go ahead.
Right. So we had the chopped pulled pork. A couple of the sides were just baked beans, but the real killer sides were biscuits from Jim and Nick's, which the cheesy biscuits. I might have had 5. I don't know. Is that kept on eating them?
Joe, I would have had like 15.
They're just
They're a little sweet.
If you've
They're
never
a little
had
sweet.
them,
That's why they're.
they're so good. And then some fried pickles also on the side, which are just it was amazing.
Was there Brunswick
And then,
stew?
I'm sorry.
Was there Brunswick stew? No.
No.
Okay.
And then just some more a little coleslaw on the side, but I really went nuts on the pulled pork and the biscuits. Just it was some of the best barbecue I've ever had.
Yeah, don't get me started on Eastern North Carolina or Lexington style barbecue because I'll talk for days.
I knew you would.
Just know that I'm jealous.
Yes.
Yeah, great trip, a lot of fun. The food was delicious.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that update on Food Talk.
Amanda,
Well-
as a pregnant woman, you are hungry all the time.
Yes.
What have you been feasting on?
Pizza.
From where?
Mostly Joe's Brooklyn. I go there for lunch during work sometimes. I get a buffalo chicken slice and a slice of old fashioned, and it is always delicious and filling, and I make all my coworkers jealous.
Joe's Brooklyn Pizza. We've been there before.
Yeah,
One of the best pizza places in the Rochester area, if you have a chance.
Definitely.
Jefferson Road in Henrietta, 12 Corners in Brighton. There's one in Fairport now.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Sounds like the
Do they have
heavens are angry out there, by the way.
They do, yeah.
Do they have the big slices?
Yes.
Yep. Thin crust. Although they do have some deep
They're-
dish.
they have the Sicilian or grandma's slice, which is
Yeah.
like a thick, like square cut. Oh, that's good.
That's
Yeah.
good
I get
pizza.
that usually every time.
That's
yeah.
good pizza.
That's good crust.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And like I've talked about before, how I'm not a huge fan of New York pizza necessarily, but they do it right there.
Yep.
Is it a Rochester chain?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
For a long time, it was just the one in Henrietta. Then the last few years, it's expanded, and I think it's related to Pizza Stop, which is one of the most popular pizza places downtown. Also,
Have we had a pie from there before? Or just slices.
just slices.
slices.
Yeah, they have tons of different slices you can choose from when you go. So check it out.
Yeah, I have to.
I might get an actual pie soon. I don't know.
Do it.
I think I might.
Shut up.
All right, we'll keep the program moving right along here. Let's
Wheels on the Bus in episode 36.
yeah, let's
keep it moving.
Thank you. Let's move right to the power rankings.
It's time for the 259 Show's weekly power rankings.
This week's weekly power rankings topic was Tyler Diedrich's choice. He chose the best sporting events that you have attended, and this will create some dialogue.
Could be anything.
anything.
Could be
Last week we said at any level.
Yeah.
You just had to be there in person to witness.
and it can be an event that you participated in.
Yes.
So
I'll get the ball rolling. I pulled the Tyler and Audible on this one. I went to most memorable because there's certain games that were great, but were more memorable than they were great, and they made my list for reasons we'll get into.
if they're great to you, it's because they're memorable.
Yeah, well,
That's what I was going for.
Example one will be number 5. 2012, I went to the Duke versus UNC game. Duke won.
In Chapel Thrill.
Wasn't great at all, but it was very memorable. Leading up till tip-off, it was such a non-planned weekend. I got a phone call like on Monday or Tuesday from AMUM, and we got it all set up for a Friday night game, 9 p.m. game down in Chapel Hill. It was sweet. Definitely do it again, obviously. Definitely memorable, not the greatest, because if we remember correctly, the team wasn't that great that year. Number 4 on my list, 2005, Hilton Varsity Basketball pre-quarterfinals versus Penfield at Hilton. Double overtime game. Do you remember that one?
I've,
you guys there?
I've heard you talk about it. I think I've seen a video of it. I was not there.
My brother Mike hit
The teams were both awful,
Yeah.
but still a memorable game.
My brother Mike, sophomore at the time, had the game-tying three-pointer at the buzzer to force overtime. Shane Gladio hit the game-tying layup at the buzzer to go in 2 overtimes. Hilton beat Penfield by like 14.
They were both sophomores at the time.
Yes, both sophomores at the time. That was the probably the pinnacle of the excitement of their team.
Which led up to 2 very good seasons the next
Where they both fell short.
the next 3 years, actually.
Following that game, they lost to I'm drawing a blank on his first name. Rumsfeld was his last name, from East.
Nate Brumfield.
Nate Brumfield,
Yes.
yes, from East.
Not to be confused with Donald Rumsfeld.
Those Drew, those Hilton basketball teams, those are pretty solid, man. When your brother was playing with Gladio and Cal Palumbo, and
Hutton,
they were
Oh, yeah.
Clark.
it was pretty good. Yep. Even some guys my age like Duffy and Clark, those guys are solid.
So, that brings me into number 3 on my list. Friday, February 27th, 2008. It was Hilton versus
This
Franklin.
Tyler Dietrich-esque.
I know, 67-65 in overtime. It's the 2008
I think you got
Hilton
the-
basketball sectional semifinals.
What was the date you had on that one?
February 27th, 2008.
Yes.
Yes.
The semifinals against Franklin
Franklin
at the
in
Blue
overtime.
Cross Arena.
Yeah, nobody thought we'd win that game. Somehow we did.
It was so weird because, Hilton was the 5 seed that year. They were like a 500 team.
Mm-hmm.
This was coming off of the 2 years when they had the best seasons that I can remember in a long time.
And got matched up against like
Athena, right. Hilton was really good those 2 years, but ended up losing in the semifinals. So then our senior year, they were about a 500 team. They were the 4 seed. They played Spencerport, who was the 5 seed. Best basketball season Spencerport's ever had, right?
I know, right?
Or Spencerport was the 4. We were the 5, and we won by like 2 points in the quarterfinals. we would have played the top seed Fairport, but Fairport got upset by Franklin, who was the 8th seed in the quarterfinals.
We really kind of walked our way as easy as possible to the finals.
So, yeah, so you had the 5 and the 8 seed in the semifinals playing each other, and
number 2 Russian.
we won we blew a big lead at the end of that regulation in that game, but it was still exciting.
Yeah,
I just had the tape of that on recently. Like we had like a 12-point lead in the last couple minutes and blew it, but won in overtime.
Number 2 on my list, the 2008 Hilton Baseball Sectional Quarterfinals versus Fairport. 12 innings of baseball, walk-off hit from our friend John Schwind. Capped it off. And then, obviously, the postseason run after that through the semifinals of the state tournament.
Yeah, a little background on that one. That was my senior year and Joe's as well. And everyone knew that the baseball team was going to be the best team in the area all year. So they were the number 1 seed going into sectionals. Matched up against Fairport, who was like the 9 seed that year. Fairport's usually had been one of the best baseball teams in the area.
And since then has been.
Yeah, and they had kind of a down year. And Hilton's season almost ended in the first round of the playoff in the sectionals.
What a disappointment that would have been.
12 innings.
It's a lot of
scheduled for 7. The juniors were late to their prom.
Yes.
But it was worth it because Hilton won the walk-off single by John Schwind. And then, of course, they went on to win 4 more games before eventually losing in the state semifinals.
Number 1 on my list, and this is why I changed it from greatest to memorable. Saturday, November 23rd, 2013. All 4 of us were there. It was BYU at Notre Dame football game, coldest game since 1991. Kickoff temperature was 26 degrees. But God, that wind chill was sub-zero. That was a cold day.
That game was so much fun, but I've been to a lot of Buffalo Bills games. A lot of Buffalo Bills games in November and December. But that it takes the cake. The coldest game I've ever been to in my life.
We were bundled up pretty heavily.
And I actually read the article that the newspaper had the next day. I'm surprised Notre Dame doesn't play more games in snow. It was the 21st game in Notre Dame history that they played while it was snowing.
Yeah, well,
that's just odd.
Because usually the last home game is like the 3rd weekend of November, so it's usually not a ton of snow.
Yeah.
What would you say the date was on that?
Saturday, November 23rd, 2013.
Yeah.
That was the 2nd year that we ventured out.
2nd annual Mancation in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And you know what we should point out in this? It was a coming out party for Rochester's own Jerron Jones. He was a sophomore.
2 blocked field goals, or
he was a sophomore at the time, but he didn't play at all as a freshman, and he had only played a handful of games that season. But he had like 7 tackles in that game, and then a blocked field goal, which really kind of sealed the game.
Yeah.
So
Drew, actually, the game the year before, and it might be on someone else's list. I'm sorry if I'm ruining the surprise.
It is.
But,
way to go, Joe.
And then I won't say anything. We'll talk about it later.
I'm just missing my list because it was the first game that come to mind when we went over this, but was the U.S. Women's National Team friendly in Rochester. I couldn't find a date on it, but it was her 100th goal.
It was July 18th, I want to say, 2009.
Yeah.
Abby Wambach's 100th international goal.
Since then, my opinion on Abby Wambach has changed. And they play a lot of games and a lot of friendlies, and that's why she has so many goals. But that was number 6 on my list because it was the first one to come to mind. So that's my list. Let's go next.
Number 1 was Notre Dame?
Yeah, because it was most memorable. Not greatest, most memorable. It was cold. I don't think I felt my legs until we got to Toledo.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that game was great. It was awesome.
The tailgate was fun, too.
Oh my God. The whole weekend was awesome.
That was a great weekend.
That was the whole boys club.
I miss those mancations. We need to try to find a way to do those again.
We had Jeff, Big Mike, Jake, Uncle E.
Yeah, once Dr. Jake is all done with school, I think we should make more of a weekend of it at some point.
Yeah, perhaps.
All right, I'll jump in. Number 5. So I'm going to introduce this with Bonaventure fans have a very premature way of rushing the court during basketball games.
No.
I think we rushed the court one time against UB.
Yep.
Huge win.
Huge.
So, but this game, they actually deserved to rush the court. I think it was, Tyler, please correct me, junior year, Davenport hit the 3 against Duquesne?
February 5th, 2011. Michael was there.
I was at that game.
You were
I should
there.
have put that on my list.
You and Dr. Jake were visiting, and you picked a heck of a weekend to come to a game.
Yeah, so that game was against Duquesne, who I think was ranked in the top 25.
No, they weren't ranked, but they were undefeated in conference play to that point.
Right, so very, very strong team. And Duquesne is a Atlantic 10 rival of Bonaventure, so it's always a big game. Very close. I think we were down 2. And Ogo Adeboye brings the ball down the court. Michael Davenport's trailing him. Davenport gets the pass, hits a NBA range 3, I think. He was a couple feet behind the normal three-pointer, and just drains it. Everyone goes nuts. Everyone rushed the court. That game was one of the coolest Bonaventure games I think I've ever been to.
And we made it on college game day that night.
Yeah,
the highlight.
That game was sweet.
That was fun. I remember that.
Yeah, and Ogo lived right across the hall from me.
And we came back to your apartment. He was partying by himself in there.
My dorm room.
Just singing and
my
dancing.
dorm cell.
Yeah.
My single room dorm.
Was that like on the fly shot on the run?
He was
moving.
I remember he was
the ball
moving. He
come
kind
to
of
a
chucked
stop.
it up.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is Tyler got it all on tape.
Yeah, I was sitting courtside covering the game, and the video is on YouTube if you want to check it out. Michael Davenport, St. Bonaventure, Duquesne, 2011.
We were standing right behind you. Yeah, that was fun. I forgot about that game.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Great
Joe.
game. Number 4 is a throwback, and I'm very surprised I remember this, but I remember it because it was just so like out of my element. It was In Your House 14, Revenge of the Taker, on April 20th, 1997 at the Blue Cross Arena. This is a WWF pay-per-view event.
What the hell?
In Rochester?
In Rochester, New York.
And you were there?
And this was like it was crazy. I had never heard anything that loud. I had never seen that many people. And it was just like one of the coolest wrestling experiences I've ever been to. All of you big wrestling fans, listen to the show. Listen to some of these matches. The Rock, a young Rock. He wasn't even called The Rock back then. Versus Savio Vega. The Legion of Doom. Versus the British Bulldog and Owen Hart. Undertaker versus Mankind, and Stone Cold versus Bret Hart. That's a crazy
Stone
billing.
Cold.
It was a great pay-per-view.
Big Scott took you to that at age 7?
I went at age 7. I think my dad, myself, my grandpa, Peach on my dad's side, my Uncle Joe, my brother. We all went.
Were you losing your stuff?
It was cool. 'Cause growing up, I watched wrestling all the time with my dad and brother.
Is that why you're so loud? Is because that night you had to yell so loud to get anyone's
it
attention?
His ears have never recovered.
Definitely, like when the first music came out, I almost started crying because it was so loud. Like I never heard anything that loud. So that was definitely one of the cool. That's definitely hands down the coolest wrestling thing I've ever seen.
That's not a sporting event, but
I didn't expect WWF to make the cut tonight.
No, definitely not.
It's not even WWF anymore. It's called WWE. That's how old it was.
Yeah. Well, weren't they was WWF and WWC or
WCW
No,
was...
so it was back in the day. It was World Wrestling Federation. They actually changed it because the World Wildlife Federation made them.
Yeah.
So, but back in the day, it was WWF versus WCW. Those were
WCW, that was it. Yeah.
the two competing wrestling businesses until the WWF bought out WCW. We can talk about that another day, though. Number 3 is I just put Buffalo Bills games. I'm just going to name a couple of the most memorable games I've been to. Buffalo versus Oakland back in 2011, I believe. Bills down 18. They came back to win 38-35.
Home opener.
Ryan Fitzpatrick throws a touchdown with 14 seconds left in the game. Just a crazy atmosphere.
To
First
David
Bills game
Nelson, I
went to
believe.
was, I'm sorry?
To David Nelson, if I recall
David Nelson.
correctly.
Yep.
How do you know
That's
all this stuff?
I just saw the video recently.
Oh, okay.
And actually, the video is pretty funny because Ryan Fitzpatrick is screaming like a little girl.
Yeah.
The first Bills game I ever went to was in November of 2004 against the Rams. And then, I'm sorry, Amanda, but one year I went to a game, the Bills were 0-8. They beat the Lions in overtime to go 1-8.
It was
as a
2010.
Bills fan, you know how important it is to get that first win of the year, even if you're 0-8.
Joe, I got to correct you on something. That
Please.
Bills-Lions game, 2010, it was 14-12. It came down to a 2-point conversion. The Lions failed the 2-point conversion at the end.
Right.
So the Bills
Okay.
won.
I knew it
I
was
think that was
something
the Lions'
at the end
worst
of the game.
season, too.
No, 2008 was the worst season
Oh,
by any
okay.
team ever. The Lions were 0-16.
I'm so proud of them.
Number two was an experience that I was a part of. Was when the Hilton football team in 2007 beat Brockport for the Cider Jug my senior year. That game had like huge implications on it. It got us into sectionals. Against any game against Brockport for Hilton football is a big rivalry game, and that game was just. I think there was maybe 3,000 people in the stands. It was crazy.
You caught a ball for a first down in that game.
I caught a couple passes that game. Yep. Yeah, it was one of the greatest games I've ever been in. And then the next week, us beating McQuaid in sectionals was probably one of the greatest football games because we just annihilated them. We took it to them the whole time. And then number one was
Joe.
the coolest.
Joe,
Go ahead.
to the
Yeah, go ahead.
Cider Jug game. A couple of years after you guys won it, Hilton lost it, and Hilton will never play Brockport in football ever again due to enrollment numbers in the two schools.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I was going to say, is that still a
I thought we
rivalry?
definitely.
I feel like it's
I thought
Hilton
we
Gates
definitely-
now, right?
No, they don't play each other anymore because Brockport is now Class A and we are Class AA.
And we're about twice the size.
Right. So, well, unless there was ever,
New development
if,
coming
no,
to
no,
Brockport.
no, if they're ever both eliminated from sectionals early and end up playing,
Could be.
yeah, that's the only possible way that would happen.
Is
I was
Gates
thinking.
Hilton's biggest rival in football now at this point?
No, it's
I know
like-
when going through school,
It's like
Gates
Pittsford, Rush, Henrietta. We always beat Gates every year now, so it's like Pittsford, Rush, Henrietta are the teams we're always kind of competing with.
And to go 2 points ago, Joe, back to the Buffalo Bills, I was trying to find the date. December 22nd, 2013, Bills 19, Dolphins 0. I was with Mike, Dr. Jake, Uncle E. With that,
Oh,
game.
yeah.
We sat in the family
Yeah, we
section.
sat in the
remember
family
that?
section, yeah.
It's a good place to sit.
And I think it was added that day to the lineup. I think you guys had an extra ticket.
Yeah.
Because I didn't drive. I drank a lot.
Who drove? Jimmy?
We went with Jake
Jake
drove.
drove, yeah.
And I bring that game up. Because
You grilled for us. And you had
I
your
grilled the
vat of
hot
hot
sauce.
sauce.
I bring that game up, Joe, because I don't believe the Miami Dolphins crossed midfield at all that game. And it was one of it was actually very entertaining to watch. And the Bills quarterback at the time, Thad Lewis.
Yeah.
Lewis, wow. That's a name.
Fred Jackson, 105 yards, 1 touchdown. It was a bad game, but it was very fun to watch because the Dolphins really blew it.
They needed to win either that game. That was week 16.
Yeah.
So if they won that week or the following week against the Jets, both the Bills and the Jets were bad that year. They would have made the playoffs. They lost both of those games.
Sorry, Joe, to cut you off, but what you
Joe,
know?
Joe, if you got to pick one of those Bills games, which one is it?
What's that?
If you have to pick one of those Bills games, which one is it? The ones that you mentioned.
That Bills Oakland game was amazing. Just because that was the week before we finally beat the Pats for the first time in like a decade.
8 years.
But number one, and this was the kind of like the coolest sports atmosphere I've ever been in, was recently I went to a soccer game in Germany, Bayern Munich versus Hertha, and just seeing the fans and how organized they were with their cheers and how just absolutely crazy they are for their teams. That was one of the coolest experiences, and it was in the Olympic Stadium that Jesse Owens basically threw the middle finger at Hitler. So,
I was
You're so
hoping you'd
cultured.
mention that game, Joe. I was hoping that'd make your list.
oh yeah, that was one of the greatest sports games I've ever been to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
lot of
Apparently it was number one.
Joe, you're so
So-
cultured.
I'm just a man who's seen so much.
He's seen some stuff.
Yeah, Michael, Tyler, Amanda.
Mike?
Yeah, I could go. All right. Coming up with this list made me realize that I haven't seen many good sporting, or I haven't
It was
attended
tough.
many good sporting events. So mine's a combination of good games and memorable games for me. So number 5, this is a great game. Bills versus Jags last year in November of 2016. I went with Drew, Eric, and my friend Josh. Yeah. It was the first time I had grilled donuts.
Oh my God, that was a great move.
I saw Bills win. We had a lot of fun.
It was Bills Mafia, buddy.
Bills Mafia, yeah. And that was great seats. Those are the best seats I've ever had to any sporting event. Drew's season ticket seats.
I can't wait.
Oh, it was awesome. I had a really, really fun time.
Mike, I have an important question for you.
What?
Whenever are you done with that one? Or?
Yeah, sure. I don't know
Okay.
what to say.
We know that. Okay, obviously Drew and Joe are Bills fans.
Yeah.
Amanda and I hate the Bills more than any other team. Where do the Bills rank among your?
I like to see the Bills do well. I don't have any beef because my favorite team's an NFC team.
We never touched on that.
I don't have second favorite teams, but I root. I mean,
Where
I
do you
don't
think
root
the
against
Bills
the
would rank in your list of favorite teams if you had to rank every NFL team?
It'd probably be 2 or 3.
It-
Just because
That'd
they're
be
a
a
local
tough-
team.
Who's
I
number
don't
one,
mind the
then?
fan. Well, Green Bay. I'm a Packers fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's right, Amanda.
I don't know how to feel about that now.
You asked.
Yeah, I mean, I like going to the games. A lot of my friends are Bills fan. My mom's a Bills fan, and I don't know. They're kind of lovable losers, I guess, to me at least. I know not to many around here, especially Dolphins fans. So,
They're hateable losers.
but yeah. So that was a fun game, Drew. I had a lot of fun. I'm
Do it
glad
again
you
this
took
year.
it. Yeah. Number 4, another memorable moment. The first time I went to New Yankee Stadium. Actually, the first time I went to any Yankee Stadium.
Dude, I left that game off the list. Go
Yankees
ahead.
versus Twins in 2013. I went with a group of my buddies. We made a quick trip down to New York. Yankees lost that game, I believe, but it was, I cried. I almost cried when I walked into the ballpark. It was so awesome.
Were you like the dad and Rudy?
Almost. It really was. It was so.
It's the most
it was
beautiful
so
sight
great.
these guys have
I had
ever
never
seen.
been to Yankee Stadium before, and I was very excited.
I can't believe I left that off my list, Mike. 2014, Joe and I went to Yankee Stadium, New Yankee Stadium, beside Jeter in one of his last games.
Yeah.
was like-
Oh, I totally forgot
You know
about
what
that.
sucked too? Jeter. It was that year Jeter kept getting hurt a lot, and he just got back, and we bought the tickets, and then 2 days later he got hurt again, and we missed him. And we missed him.
I apologize if I missed it. Who did they play?
The Twins.
And they won.
I've seen them. No, I think they lost.
They lost.
I think they lost. I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember. I'm not sure. I went another time with your family, also against the Twins, when we came back from Ocean City, and the Yankees won that game in late innings. That was also fun to watch, but didn't make my top 5. Number 3, 2012. I think it was 2012. I kind of threw these dates together. Mancation number 1, Notre Dame versus Wake Forest.
November 17th, 2012.
That was so much fun. First time I've ever been to Notre Dame. It was with all you boys. That campus, absolutely beautiful. And we caught it on the perfect day, too. Late November, and we were wearing jeans or sweatpants and just hoodies walking
Yeah.
around. It was a perfect fall day.
Steaks.
Notre Dame was...
Number 3.
It was their senior day.
Yeah.
They're number 3 in the country. And it just so happened that a couple teams lost, and it worked out. Notre Dame won the game, and they became number 1 in the country that game. And everyone knew it once we won the game, right? I think it was...
No,
was it not decided?
No, because those
Or
two games were on
Oregon.
after Notre Dame.
Was it Oregon?
Oregon beat Stanford.
Yeah, we
and
got back
Kansas
to the hotel.
State lost, or no, Stanford beat Oregon rather. So Oregon was number 1 or 2, and then Kansas State was number 2, and they lost to I forget who.
A lot of memorable moments, too, at that game. Drew didn't have a ticket in our section, but he came and sat with us anyways. And if you've ever been to Notre Dame, it's these old skinny wood benches with...
Bleacher seats.
There's no room, even if you're actually sitting in the seat you're
The
supposed
seat
to.
numbers are branded.
No backs. No
we've
backs
got a lot
either.
of back. No, not a lot. Of
So Drew's squishing in between me and then this older couple.
When we have 7 guys and 6 seats.
Yeah. So we're
5
like-
guys in 4 seats.
Oh, so-
We're like sitting on each other's laps or like standing sideways.
There's a couple getting
There's a couple
intimate in front of us.
making out.
Yeah, I think they're all-
They didn't
two
look
people
up and
in
watch
front
the
of us
game
were
at
like-
all. They made out
game. They were making out the whole time.
on top of Joe and Tyler. I think Tyler was videotaping them at one point.
No, I'm just videotaping the game, and you can
Well,
see
you had
them.
them in, yeah. They're a couple necking. And I think the coolest thing we don't really talk about much is that we made the cover of Sports Illustrated
Yeah.
that
Yes,
year
we
with
did.
that. And you can see or Tyler's bright
Forehead?
green hoodie.
Oh.
No. He let me borrow his hoodie. And you can see us in there in Joe's Notre Dame blue jersey. And we were on the cover of Sports Illustrated, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun time, too. That was an enjoyable trip.
It was,
We
and I
gotta
don't know
get
if you
back to
mentioned
Notre
this,
Dame.
but it was Manti Te'o's senior game.
Oh yeah, and he was having that storied year.
He was still with his girlfriend.
He sat next to his
No,
girlfriend.
Before the girlfriend
she
stuff.
had died at that point.
Oh, she died.
She died in September.
Wasn't
What was
that
her name?
Lene Kakua.
Tyler, wasn't there a picture of that game too? Like the light was shining.
That was from
on
a different
him
game.
Oh, it was. I thought it was that game.
No, when I go back and watch the video of Manti being introduced on Senior Day, I still get chills watching it, even though I know what happened after that.
He was big. We were all like, that was before all those scandals, and the whole country was talking about him.
Regardless of that, he still had a heck of a season.
Yeah, he did. And how could I forget the steaks? We had the steaks. Best steak sandwiches in South Bend.
Second time we went, it was mandatory we had steaks just to warm us up.
That's crazy. Those years.
You know what? It wasn't that cold when we were tailgating, but it got colder because the sun went down, and because they don't start the game until 3:30.
Yeah, that was fun.
Anywho,
we gotta get back to Notre Dame. Anytime, go to a game at Notre Dame.
I'm thinking 2018, so next year. Syracuse is going to Notre Dame Stadium,
really?
So that might be a good opportunity
after
to go.
Druber's wedding. He might be on his honeymoon.
I don't know the date on that game yet, so I'll have to check on that.
There's no schedule out yet, would there be?
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Okay.
Continue.
Number 2, Cuse versus Pitt basketball 2014 at the Carrier Dome. I went with my girlfriend. She got me tickets. Both teams were ranked within the top 20, I believe. Top 25, definitely. This game went down to last minute, and Syracuse won the game at the end there. Tyler Ennis was on the team.
Was that his buzzer beater?
Yeah, was it a buzzer beater? I'm so bad at
I mean, it could have been a different game. I'm thinking of.
He had a couple. I don't think it was a buzzer beater, but it was late. It was real late. Great crowd. Pitt was really good that year. Syracuse was really good. Both highly ranked teams. And that was a really fun game to watch at the Carrier Dome. I was sitting in the student section, obviously with my girlfriend and her friends. It was a good time.
Tyler, 2 things. Notre Dame plays Navy the day of my wedding.
I know.
Out in San Diego.
Will it be on TV at your wedding?
No.
You have to get a smartphone.
Syracuse.
He'll just use mine.
Syracuse is the senior game.
So it's November.
Saturday, November 17th.
Oh, that might work then.
Syracuse might be good at that point, too. They might be a formidable opponent. They might be. They're getting better.
I mean, I've seen Syracuse beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame Stadium, and that was
but Syracuse been bad last year.
Other side notes, Notre Dame plays Michigan that year.
September 1st, 2018. Opening day, going to get crushed.
And then the closing game is against USC Trojans.
Yeah, they always end every other year at USC.
Yeah,
they fight on, right?
It's either at USC or at Stanford every year. It alternates.
So that's pretty cool that Michigan's back in there. And other side note, I never knew Navy's mascot was the midshipmen.
Yep. The goats.
Sorry, Mike.
That's what when I was young, I'm like, Dad, what's Navy's mascot? And he's like, the goats.
Goats.
Or what's their nickname?
Okay, yeah, so we talked about this, my number 1 a couple months ago. I went to Wrigley for the first time and watched the Yankees vs. Cubs Sunday Night Baseball breast cancer awareness game. This is the game that went for 18 innings, and the Yankees won in the 18th inning, but I left in the 9th inning, so... It was still one of the best games I ever went to. Great atmosphere, Wrigley, like I said before. It's a great venue. And it was fun watching this new Yankees team compete in person. So,
how many Yankees games have you been to in your life?
4 or 5, I think. I've been to a game in Toronto, 2 in New York. 4, and then the one at Wrigley, I think. I've been to the Yankee Stadium twice. So
both Yankee Stadiums?
No, I'd never been to original, which would have liked to, but just never did. So, yep, that's my list.
Which Diedrich wants to go first?
Amanda wants to go. All right. For number 5, I had the 2011 St. Bonaventure game versus LaSalle. It was February?
It was March. It was a Tuesday
March.
at like 5 o'clock. It was the first round of the Atlantic 10 tournament.
Yes.
Double overtime.
My friend Maria and I were actually upstairs in the same building doing our radio show starting at 5, so we missed almost the entire game, but when we were done, we found out it was in overtime, so we went downstairs to catch the last few minutes, and it was insane. It was absolutely insane. They ended up losing, but it was very exciting.
That was a wild game. I was covering it right down in the corner.
Yeah, we were just standing like in the aisles somewhere, just like screaming the whole time. It was crazy. Okay, number 4, I had the Dolphins versus the Bengals In 2013, Tyler and I went to what was formerly known as Sun Life Stadium and is now Hard Rock Cafe something.
Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah.
It's been through like 7 name changes since
Yeah.
At least.
But the Dolphins won on a Cameron Wake safety. It was very exciting.
In overtime.
It was exciting just being around other Dolphins fans. So.
Why would that be exciting?
I don't know, Joe.
And there was probably 7 of them there.
No, a lot of people were dressed up as orange chairs. It's fine, whatever. Do you get it?
There were a few Bills fans there.
There were.
That was weird.
I
That
couldn't
was
hear it.
really weird.
There were a few Bills fans who were sitting near us, even though it was the Dolphins and Bengals playing.
Yeah.
Were they being heckled like you were? Remember
No,
the
they were
Bills
trying to-
Dolphins
they were
game
trying
went
to-
Thursday night,
Oh,
and
I
that
know,
guy
I know.
was just
No,
completely
because Dolphins
obliterated.
fans are respectful people.
He was wearing like a polo, and it was like 30 degrees outside, and he's looking at Tyler square in the face. He's like, "Squish the fish," and we're just like, I think me and Greg are sitting on the opposite side of Tyler, and we're like, man, shut up. We are trying to watch this. We do not want to talk to you. You're hammered. Just turn around and watch the game.
Yeah, actually, the worst sporting event I ever went to was a Bills game against the Chargers.
I completely agree. Probably.
It was horrible. We were behind these like drunk Canadians, and this guy had bloody ears, and
Like
this
he looked like he got his earrings ripped out of his ears.
yeah, and he was just like dripping blood all over himself. And then there was that couple who was like eating each other's ears. I don't know what was with these Canadians in their ears, but it was disgusting.
At least the Chargers won
All
that game.
nibbling.
Yeah, but we left early because I was so upset about the ears.
That's a very Diedrich move, by the way, leaving a game early.
She fits right
Oh, yeah.
in.
We don't leave that early. Like the game was decided by the time we left.
Yeah.
2014.
In the third
by the
quarter.
way. Philip Rivers carved them up that day. Anywho,
Anyway, number 3, I had the game Tyler and I went to in 2015, Notre Dame versus Wake Forest. It was actually nice out. We went with Jeff and Lori. I had a steak sandwich before the game, of course. And Notre Dame won.
Steaks.
And we got to do, we were there for the player walk, and we got to high-five Jerron Jones.
yep.
It was really
Oh,
cool.
we did the player walk too that first
Yeah.
year.
Oh yeah, that's such
Not
a
us.
cool experience.
We were so close to Manti.
We did do the player walk. You guys did the pep rally, though.
No, we
That
didn't.
was year 2.
The next year we did.
Not
Pep
me.
rallies are lame now, by the way. They used to be awesome at Notre Dame, but now they're lame.
Is it because you're older?
No, it's because
That's a legitimate
I played
question.
footsies with
No,
you.
it was really
Actually,
stupid.
Drew, I'm sorry.
A little bit.
Joe, you went to the pep rally with me. How lame was it?
It was fine. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. Like it was the player walk. I love that.
Yeah.
Is so cool because it's just like everyone's there. The band is playing the music. The players are. I think Manti was wearing like lays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
well,
Hawaii.
I remember the band was talking about like going to the national championship game. I remember that the band members were right there playing before the players walked through. They're talking
Yeah, that
about,
was neat.
oh, we get to go to the game if they make it this year. It was
Theo
really,
Riddick
really
was
cool.
there. Oh, I got it all on video.
Nice.
Anywho,
All right, number 2, I had Lions versus Redskins last October. We took my dad for his 60th birthday. I thought they were going to lose, and actually at the 2-minute mark, I turned to my dad and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, we dragged you out to Detroit so you could be here for this game, and they're going to blow it because they're the Lions, and of course they will. But they actually turned it around and ended up winning, and it was really exciting.
yeah, Matthew Stafford to Anquan Bolden in the last minute of the game to win it.
And my dad was incredibly happy, so it makes me happy. And number 1, I had Watkins Glen 2016 when we went last year. We got to say hello to Trevor Bayne, our favorite NASCAR driver, and he ended up finishing 9th on a road course, and he's not good on road courses, so that was a pretty cool.
It's a heck
Pretty
of
cool
rough
event.
turbine that day.
And the race itself even was just exciting because there were all these cautions like right at the end, and
Came down to the very last corner, and Denny Hamlin ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wreck. Trevor Bayne finished 9th, and we were very happy. I didn't even notice who won because we were trying to.
I know
figure out
I didn't care who won,
where
but
Trevor Bayne was going to finish.
so that was just an exciting event overall. But add in the Trevor Bayne stuff, and it takes it to the top.
Your first NASCAR race.
It was my first NASCAR race.
I ain't never been to a NASCAR before.
That's because you're too cultured, right?
I enjoy arts, not farts.
Joe, if you really want to
okay?
get a diverse
Oh.
experience, I think you're due for a NASCAR race.
Do they have NASCAR races in Dirty Jersey?
They have one in Dover, Delaware, which is, basically the same thing. Anywho, time for my top 5. This has been like an hour of power rankings.
Well, we're coming on about an hour of the program right now.
So number 5, Joe mentioned this one already. Throwing it back 10 years, 2007, Hilton football against Brockport. Homecoming, we were 2-3. So it was
because we only played 6 games.
Yeah, it was the last game of the regular season, so we needed to win to make sectionals against longtime rival Brockport, and we did. It was a back and forth game, a lot of big plays in this one, but we ended up pulling out the win on a late touchdown, and then an intercept. We intercepted them at the 1-yard line.
That game was a week after we almost beat Churchville too.
Yep. Really high. It was like 80 degrees. It was the first week of October. Human night. We ended up winning 21-17, I believe was the score. Made sectionals, won in the first round of sectionals, and then lost in the semifinals. But anyway, I'm never going to forget that homecoming game, even though I did not play in it as I did for most of the games that year. Was on the bench, sideline, whatever you want to say.
That's where I spent my football career.
Yeah.
Thanks, Big Scott.
That's where I spent the majority of the last 6 seasons of my football career. I'm never going to forget that game. That was our senior year. Number 4 just happened recently. Christmas Eve 2016, Dolphins Bills at the Cap, the Lid. It was week 16, a Saturday afternoon game. Took Jake and Molly. First ever NFL game for Molly. And the Dolphins made it a very Merry Christmas. They beat the Bills in overtime, 34-31. Never going to forget that game.
That was almost one of the coolest Bills games because I remember Tyrod threw a touchdown to Clay with a minute and a half left.
Less than a minute.
Oh, yeah.
And the Dolphins were out of timeouts in the last minute after the Bills had just come back to take the lead. The Dolphins had been winning for most of the game. Andrew Franks.
Overtime?
Yeah, Dolphins had to rush the field goal team out of the field on the last play of regulation. They just got the kickoff, 55-yarder by Andrew Franks, who had never made a kick that long in his career. Sent it to overtime, and the Dolphins ended up winning. The Bills had a lot of
stupid penalties.
Yeah, they had a lot of stupid mistakes that cost them in that one. But
who kicked that field goal?
Andrew Franks.
Is he still on the active roster?
Oh yeah,
really?
He's the Dolphins kicker.
Andrew Franks.
Yeah. Second year, he'll be in his third year this year out of RPI out in Capital Region of New York.
Nice.
Was he on the soccer team?
No, football. He's on the football team there.
They have a football team in RPI?
D3, yeah. So, yeah, Dolphins win, and it all but clinched a playoff spot. They ended up making the playoffs because the Broncos lost to the Chiefs the following night on Christmas. It was a very Merry Christmas for many reasons. Number 3, 2012, my senior year at St. Bonaventure University, they played St. Joe's. This was toward the end of the regular season. It was actually on Leap Day, and it was during a break, so, not all the students were there. I was actually announcing the game on SBU TV, and what a game. It went into double overtime. The Bonnies pulled out the win 98-93. Andrew Nicholson knocking down clutch shots.
Andrew Nicholson hit a couple clutch threes in that game.
Yeah, he did. Actually, Matt Wright.
Sweet.
Matt Wright gave the Bonnies the lead on a 3. They were down by 2. He hit a 3 with a second and a half remaining. There was a bogus foul call on the Bonnies on the following inbound pass. St. Joe's tied it and sent it to overtime. And St. Joe's was up by 6 in the final minute of the first overtime, or 5, and the Bonnies rallied to tie it, sent it to a second overtime, then they kind of pulled away.
That whole season was pretty magical. I'm sure you have one of those games on your list.
No, that's it. That was the one I picked. I could have also picked the A-10 championship game against Xavier in Atlantic City that I drove to in an impulse decision the day before the game. I can save that one for another
and then
day,
even
the NCAA tournament in
NCAA game against Florida State was. They didn't get blown out. They played them.
Oh no, it was down to the last possession, and then the Bonnies women made it all the way to the Sweet 16 and got pummeled by Notre Dame. But that was still a fun ride as well.
You wore a green shirt to that game, and everyone was mad at you.
Yeah, I know. That's another story for another day, though. The Bonnies won that game against St. Joe's. It ended up helping them clinch a first round bye in the A-10 tournament, which they ended up winning as the 4 seed to everyone's surprise. And I was about to pass out calling that game. It was so exciting. But You can go check it out. 2012 St. Bonaventure St. Joe's on YouTube. The video's all there. You can hear my announcing. Number 2, it's the one that you guys have talked about. A couple of you guys have mentioned already. If not all of you, actually. 2012 Notre Dame Wake Forest Senior Day. Magical season that came to a crashing halt a couple months later, but at that point we didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame just pummeled Wake Forest that day. It was 38-0.
As expected.
It was never in doubt at all.
Yeah.
Like they scored. Sierra Wood had a long run right at the beginning of the game, and Notre Dame never looked back. It was like 31-0 at halftime. And then
Who was the quarterback of that team back then?
Everett Golson.
That's right. Okay.
Drew, you got something?
This just in, Brian Kelly's still the coach of Notre Dame football.
Yeah.
You're a saucy dog, Drew.
If you would have told me that news back then when this game happened, I would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
But now,
The house that Brian Kelly built.
that game is probably the reason, or that season at least, is probably the reason he still has a job. Anywho, so Notre Dame won 11-0. Kansas State and Oregon go down that night, so Notre Dame moved up to number 1 in the rankings. And now looking back on it, I think I'd be a much happier man today if one of those two teams had won, because Notre Dame wouldn't have played Alabama in the national championship game. They would have played Kansas State or Oregon. And my life would be a lot different right now, because I might have a national championship, although it may have been vacated, so who knows. So yeah, the week after that game, of course, they went on to beat USC to finish the regular season 12-0 and make it to the national championship game, and we all know what happened then. They got demolished by Alabama. But never going to forget that day when Notre Dame played Wake Forest, and we were all there, except for Amanda. Every man on this program was there that day, and that was probably a day we'll all never forget. And then number 1, Amanda touched on this a moment ago. My first and so far only trip to Miami to see the Dolphins play. Halloween night, Thursday night in Miami, Dolphins-Bengals. Dolphins tried to blow. They were up 17-6. They almost blew it. Ended up kicking a late field goal to tie it and send it to overtime. And then we saw probably the signature play of Cameron Wake's career, at least to this point. He's going to go down as the best Dolphin of the last decade. Walk-off safety in overtime, and we were going nuts. High-fiving random people. We were only in Miami for 2 nights, but never going to forget that one. So that's number 1 on my list. That was a heck of an experience, and I hope in the future I'll be able to make it down to Miami again to catch another game, because it was something to actually be surrounded by Dolphins fans at a Dolphins game as opposed to being surrounded by Bills fans at a Dolphins game.
Thank you.
That's it. I got a lot of honorable mentions, but I know we're way over time right now.
Do you want to touch on this football CTE study?
We can hold that because I've got a lot of thoughts on that.
All right, we'll hold off on that. Tease it for next time, because we will be talking about football probably in the next 27 episodes of the 259 show. Unpopular opinions this week. I'm assuming, Mike, you wrote this in? Standing at concerts?
Oh, I wrote that,
Tyler?
but
You like it?
oh, no, I really don't care.
So that's your unpopular
You're
opinion?
indifferent. He finally has no opinion.
What?
No, I mean I prefer not. This was something that someone at work was actually talking about, but we don't have to get into it right now.
All right, Joe, football?
Yeah, I'll if we're gonna hold off with the CTE stuff, I'll wait for my because my unpopular opinion is it goes along with the CTE findings and all that
All
junk.
right, look at that. No unpopular opinions this week.
No, all popular on our part here.
Oh, I did have something I wanted to say. I see everyone puts their initials down in this this rundown here,
Yes.
except for me.
That's why we do it.
Yeah, I mean, Joe is saving one character by putting his initials down. His name is Joe, J-O-E.
Hey, you know what? I'll just put Joseph then to be that
Yeah.
guy.
I mean,
Joseph Scott
and Drew and
Peachy.
Mike are only saving 2 characters by putting their initials down.
That's okay.
Just a waste.
Mr. Twitter, it's okay. He'll be fine.
I like owning my hot takes.
Like, who's MV and who's AF?
AF.
You know?
I mean, I have the best initials of anyone in this room. TD. I mean, but I don't want to I don't want to brag about it, so I just put Tyler.
I think
think AF.
teens would disagree with you in AF being where it is. Especially when you can sign emails that way at work.
Thank you, AF.
Yeah. Have a great weekend, AF. Hope everything's well, AF. Doofus of the week. Amanda, you got a doofus for us.
Mooch.
Mooch.
The man who gave up his job, his wife, the birth of his first child to work for...
It was not his first child.
It was not
No.
his first child. Okay, well, the birth of a child of his...
His most recent child.
His most recent child to work for Donald Trump for 10 days. I mean, come on.
Okay.
What is he thinking?
Not to be fair, he got canned. He
got
choose,
canned, but still... There's a lot of turnover in the White House currently.
Hey, listen, we needed someone there for when they got rid of Spicy and they let Huckabee in, so we needed that middleman, Amanda.
But he's gone now. He's gone.
He served his purpose.
He's
What,
gone!
National Laughing
Oh,
Stock?
he's gone!
And that's about as political as we get on this show.
Now, the point was that he gave up quite a lot of personal things to get to this position, and he got canned after a week and a half.
And I read that technically his starting date was August 15th.
Yeah, so he had to even really...
So he got fired on his negative 16th day of work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
You kind of feel bad, but no. I don't feel bad.
Let's dive into airtime this week. Anybody want to get started on airtime?
I got a few things.
Yes.
First of all, the Olympics are coming back to the U.S.
Eventually.
Sucks that we have to wait 11 years for it, but LA 2028, if you haven't heard, hopefully we can make the trip out there. Got enough time to plan for it.
Oh, when we have more time to plan for things, it doesn't happen. That's how things happen.
Who's in? Who's going with me?
I really don't want
I'll let you know in 10 years.
10 years?
I am excited that it'll be close to our time zone, though. Actually, it'll be past my bedtime for most of the prime time events.
No, honestly, they'll probably move them up so they're actually in...
Eastern time?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
But I want to go. I mean, this is going to be the best chance I'll have to get to the Olympics, so... Yeah, hopefully we can make that work.
flights out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
Direct flight.
Well, they'll probably
Yeah, I
be-
would definitely be interested in checking that out in 10 years.
We could stay.
What
stay
sport? What sport would you want to go to the
Summer
most?
Olympics we're
Yeah,
talking?
Summer Olympics.
Man,
Anything,
like I would
really.
say definitely. Like basketball would be crazy to see.
See, I
it would be
wouldn't
cool to
wanna go
watch.
see
It'd be cool to watch
basketball.
soccer.
You know what might be
I
our
think.
best bet is actually the soccer tournaments, the men's and the women's. They play a lot of the games in other cities because
Yeah.
they can't host all in LA.
Yeah.
Although LA, more than any other city, they may be able to actually. But I think they're going to move some of the games elsewhere.
San
And,
Diego.
yeah.
San
Yeah.
Fran's a hike.
So that might be our best bet actually is going there because it won't be as congested as it is, which LA is already super congested to begin with.
I think
Can't imagine
swimming
what's-
would be fun.
Yeah, anything would really. I mean,
Have you ever
yeah.
been to a swimming event, though? It's
No.
so hot in the
Yeah.
pool.
That's all right. Oh, that's even better.
Actually,
you feel
I
like you're a
think-
part of
wait,
it. You're
sorry.
sweating and slapping hands with everybody when Michael Phelps Jr. wins the
I mean,
gold.
go watch ping pong,
That year,
badminton,
3-on-3
anything.
basketball might be in the Olympics at that
Oh,
point.
yeah.
Am I right?
3-on-3. You could
It
watch.
will be at that point.
There's certainly a lot you can choose from. I'd really like to
Track
go
cycling?
because that's
That'd
one.
kinda be
That's the
cool.
one sporting event it's always going to be on my
I
bucket
like the
list
gymnastics.
until I go.
The gymnastics too. I like
Yeah.
women's gymnastics actually.
Dude, sports. The other thing I want to touch on, one game that didn't get mentioned. Drew and I went to this Texas Rangers, Baltimore Orioles 2012 in Arlington,
The
Texas.
corn.
You may remember that a man by the name of Adrian Beltre belted 3 home runs in that game.
Yep.
And then just this past week, he picked up his 3,000th career hit.
Yeah.
I think he's the 31st player in Major League Baseball history to do that.
Really quiet career.
I
mean,
know.
excellent player.
It's been
but-
around forever.
And you know what? He's a sure Hall of Famer.
Oh, he's got to be.
Did
yeah.
you see?
3,000.
I don't know if you're getting to this. You see that he got ejected this past week.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
for moving
I was
the
going to bring that up in
on
just a
deck
second.
circle.
That was his third ejection in his career.
No,
That's amazing.
you search up Adrian Beltre on YouTube or Twitter. That guy
He's
he's
hilarious.
a character. Yeah, like
He is very funny. Actually, him and Felix Hernandez, they have a lot of funny jokes they kind of run with each other because they play together in Seattle.
Yeah.
And those guys are hilarious.
I'm not a big baseball fan. If I had to pick a favorite baseball player, I'd probably pick him. I didn't know much about him until we went to that game in Texas 5 years ago. But after looking him up, I mean, his stats are right up there with like Derek Jeter.
Yeah, Mike's right. Quiet.
He's been in the league 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's been excellent as a
played
hitter and as a third baseman.
Oh, yeah.
He played in Boston too, right?
For like a year.
So he hasn't stayed away from the big market. Texas Rangers.
Well, he
is probably
started
one
his
of the-
career in L.A. With the Dodgers,
Yeah.
So
then to Seattle, then to Boston for a year, and then he's been with the Rangers for a while now. I mean, that guy has had a heck of a career. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and I don't think anyone's ever thought of him as like one of the faces of the game. But when you look at his numbers, they're right up there with the best of them. And he's a character. Like, he has a thing. He hates it when people touch his head. So if you ever see when he hits a home run, everyone will try to touch him on the head, and he's like making faces.
he'll
at him.
push first baseman off too, because he's been around forever. He knows everybody.
He and Elvis Andrews have played next to each other for a while now, and they have quite the they have the quite the interaction out there in the infield.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So Adrian Beltre.
I'll jump in with my airtime. I'll go back to the top of the program since once again nobody asked me how I was doing. I have a lot to talk about this week. I saw John Schwinn play this past week. Thursday night, Sam and I drove out to Auburn, New York. John Schwinn is down on the short season A ball, which is the New York Penn League, playing for the West Virginia Black Bears. He's currently batting .571 through 3 games.
Wow.
He actually hit an amazing double when we were there. He went 1 for 1, a double and a walk. Made a couple of great catches out in left field, some that I wouldn't think were possible to make. But he did say before the game that everybody on the team calls him Dad, because everybody on the team is about 20 or 21 years old.
Yeah.
He's sitting there at,
27
now. So they call him Dad. He's just trying to get better every day still. So
It's his first action of the season.
Yeah, first action since September last year. Wow. So John Schwinn playing with the short season A West Virginia Black Bears.
Well, I don't know much about baseball, but him batting .500, I know that is pretty good. So, Johnny, keep it up, man.
That might be like right around the same as where he was his senior year at Hilton High.
Yeah, and also the level of competition. I mean, we hear about Batavia Muck Dogs in the news all the time because they're always struggling for the next season. Same league as the Auburn team and the West Virginia team. Excellent competition. These are all Division I kids that were just drafted. We saw the starting pitcher was a D1 pitcher from Florida State this past year. So it's pretty neat, small town having a team like that. And the pay to tennis was like $1,900 or something like that. Which
Pack it in.
Yeah,
So do we know if John's going to get moved up through the ranks anytime soon, or is he just rehabbing
There's
there?
no openings anywhere.
Really?
So they actually had to find a spot, and that's why he's all the way down in short A. So Schwinn, currently playing, he's all caught up on the podcast too. He had to make the drive from, I believe it was West Virginia back home. So he also showed up to the Jeff Murphy, Kevin Wheelahan baseball camp last week and talked to the kids for one day. It was pretty neat.
Oh, cool.
Had a wedding this past weekend. The Hamlin Fire Department that Sam's family's involved with. There's a wedding. Fire department weddings are crazy. But
I saw your Snapchats.
Yeah.
Throwing
I was
out
out there
glow
on the
sticks.
dance floor.
And,
Did everyone show up in a pickup truck?
No. We took the shuttle bus over. I didn't even take my truck to the wedding.
My dad has a theory that all firefighters drive pickup trucks.
You have to.
That
My
it's
future
like
father-in-law and
mandatory.
my future brother-in-law drive pickup trucks.
And they're both firefighters, right?
Yes. So, sample size 2, 100%.
Well, my parents also live right across the road from a fire department, and there's a lot of pickup trucks.
So, fire department wedding, that's not the point. I just telling Mike the story before you guys came here today. There was a girl there I went to high school with who was, I won't name names, but she was crushing on me in high school. Didn't want anything to do with it. She was there. We made awkward eye contact. About halfway through the night, she made a point to bump into me and introduce her boyfriend to me. At that point, I reached around. Sam was about 8 feet away from me. I pulled Sam over and I said, "This is my fiance, Sam."
Oh, was there a standoff?
I went up to her.
Wow.
I won. Sam.
Hopping.
I used Sam as a trophy.
Yeah.
I won. So Hamlin Fire Department wedding, fun time. And the last thing here, Grand Canyon University. I've been back at class. this past week we got to do topic post every week. So I post something and people have to reply to it. This person by the name of Brayda, Brayda, last name Barreda, Barrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr Her response to me starts, quote, Miss Fowler.
Oh!
Andrea Fowler.
So, how do I go about? Should I post like
Go along with it.
men can be teachers too? You know, go that route. But Breda, what a name,
Wait, what's your name on? Did she see your
Andrew
name?
Fowler. It's Breda.
Well, did you go by Andy on there?
No,
Oh, okay.
Andrew. Actually, I signed my post AF.
Yeah. Only women do that.
And one final thing. This was going to be my airtime. Today, our friend, let me pull up the quote here, Marcel Darius of the Buffalo Bills.
This is great.
Spoke to the media today. And when he was asked about Kyle Williams returning, he called Kyle Williams his work wife and said he was glad to see him return this year. So, Marcel Darius and Kyle Williams, work wife, work hubby.
That's hilarious. I saw that.
A little bit of a
which
bromance
actually
with
surprised me.
benefits.
Darius has been playing for 7 years now, which is kind of surprising.
Is he hurt again?
He tweaked the hammies. He'll be fine.
And LaShawn McCoy is currently ill.
He's just sitting out.
Probably.
Right.
He'll be fine.
That man can do whatever he wants.
I'm done with it.
Yeah, he doesn't need to practice for training camp. He's fine.
Mike, what's this I-Team report?
Yeah, I got something hot.
We skipped that earlier.
Coming.
We need a breaking news? Got breaking news?
Yeah, in a second.
Or is it? We need like an investigative story clip here. If you can
Yeah.
cue one up.
So,
Tully sounds upset about it.
it's about one of our show members, Joseph Peachy. You notice he's been looking really, really good lately. He's been
Hot?
He's been stepping up his game, looking hot. And last week, he told us all he gets his hair cut every 2 weeks. Now, why
Yeah, I
is that?
didn't
He
go
didn't
last
really give a good explanation as to why. Just that he has a weird bromance with his hairdresser. So our team did a little bit of investigating here, and come to find out, our Mr. Joseph Peachy was voted best looking teacher at his school.
Whoa!
Wait, how do you know this?
I have my sources.
The I
or
team.
source.
Wait,
the I
wait,
team. I mean, the I team has their sources. Deep investigation.
The I-Team cannot reveal sources.
I don't know if he was voted this because of the incident in 8th grade night. I don't know what type of stuff's going on here with Joe at this school, but he is Mr. Hot Stuff, and I think maybe there's a little bit of competition at the school where Joe's getting his haircut every 2 weeks to look really prim and proper and hot for all the
actual
faculty and
award,
students.
the actual award was Prom King for being the stud muffin at UAM. Okay, that was the exact verbiage of my award. Now, I want
Was this
to ask
at the
you something,
dance?
son. Who gave you this information?
Was this at the dance? Was this at the dance,
Wow,
Joe?
this dance really was a big night for you.
Were you voted
It wasn't at a dance. We have an end of the year party every year where we give out superlatives. Like somebody gets like best hair, somebody gets most likely to leave school early,
Yeah.
and I got the prom king.
Well, now we know why you've had this handsome glow about you the last few weeks. You've been looking good. And
Yet apparently
now we know why.
only a face for radio.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
God.
much competition at this school, Joe?
No, man, no. I just take out the competition. Oh, that's hilarious.
Do you want to know
wait.
the source? Can you guess? I'll give you one guess.
Mike, I'll tell you what, that's
It
some
was
excellent,
Lauren, wasn't it?
excellent investigating.
It was not Lauren.
As I said, we haven't heard from Lauren in about a year and a half.
It was Mr. Big Scott Peachy. I see him at the gym quite often, and
That
he was talking
big-
about the show.
That big meatball. I'm gonna.
Yeah, because I walked in one day and he was on the elliptical and he yelled down, "Hey, Mike, I just listened to the show. Great show!" and then I walked over to him a little bit later and we got to talking and he said he liked how I was busting your chops about getting your haircut and all that, and he said to make sure to tell everybody about your little award at school. So
Well, you know what, Big Scott? If you're listening to this, I'm gonna out you real quick. Whenever you're at the gym and he's got his headphones in, he's not listening to any music. He just puts the headphones in just so it looks like he's listening to something. Yeah. How do you like me now, Big Scott?
not cool. Your dad always
Joe,
says hi.
Joe,
I like your dad a lot.
I see Amanda just took a phone call,
What?
Amanda just took a phone call, and I believe it was Big Scott. What did he say?
I can't say that, but Sister Margaret called and said you were.
She's unhappy with you.
Yeah, she's not happy with you.
Hey,
She called you a name that we cannot
PG-13.
use on the
All right,
on the
there,
program.
Dietrich.
What? What's that, Joe?
Okay, so that's all the I-Team had for this week.
That was great work, but you committed a cardinal sin of journalism by
hilarious.
giving up your source.
It's all right. I'm
Never give up
sure he
the source.
I'm sure he wanted to know.
That's some great digging, though. I'm excited for our future investigative.
That might be a one
reports.
and done type thing.
That's better. That's better than the hot takes, man. That was some digging.
Who's next? Airtime?
I'll go. My airtime. Welcome back, football. August 3rd, Thursday. We've got the Hall of Fame game between the Colts and the.
No, Cardinal.
I don't even know.
Cardinal.
I had it
Cardinals and
up
somebody.
here, but welcome back, NFL preseason football. I know the preseason's kind of a wash. I mean, it is what it is, but it's back on, something to watch. And
Hopefully
then once the preseason's over, we finally have NFL season and what we all love, fantasy football. So it'll be great.
Hopefully the Hall of Fame game goes better than it did last year.
Yeah,
What happened to the Hall of Fame game last year?
it got canceled.
They had paint thinner on the
Yeah,
field.
my Packers couldn't play. It
was
was the
Packers-
Packers Colts. I think it
Was
was
it?
Packers Colts. Yeah.
That's great.
That's funny. But you're right. Couple more weeks, regular season will be here before you know it.
If you're listening to this on Saturday, it's already back because the game was on Thursday night.
All right.
So the full slate will be picking up this week.
Amanda, do you have anything to add? Airtime?
No, I think I'm good. Oh, I wanted to talk about pyramid schemes.
Or peaches. You also had peaches.
I also had peaches, but that's not important right now. What's important?
Peaches are always important.
They are. Not you though.
Oh.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's okay.
I still like you, I guess. But no,
Not bad.
I don't know what it is. The last couple weeks, I've been getting invited to like pyramid scheme parties for like leggings and like cooking equipment and like cleaning cloths, and I just want to be left alone. I don't want
It's
your.
that time of your life.
It's the peddling crap time of my life. I don't want it. I can get the same cheap stuff off Amazon, and it's better quality, and it gets to my house in 2 days.
Hear that, fans? Don't.
Now this is all ironic because our favorite driver is sponsored by a multi-level marketing company.
Pyramid
Druber?
scheme.
Turbine, driver number 6,
Advon?
Advocare Ford
Oh,
Fusion.
Oh, I thought you meant Druber.
Okay,
Our
what-
favorite NASCAR driver.
Drubers movers.
Not our favorite Uber driver.
Interesting.
Drew, sponsored by Ambit Energy.
Now we,
Amway.
now we end each program with some closure. What's on deck next week? The next week's Power Rankings topic is Joe's choice. Joe, who do you choose? What do you choose?
Top 5 favorite cereals.
Oh, good
Top
pick.
5 cereals.
I like
About
that.
time.
The official 259 Show T-shirt is still available. Get a hold of us if you want them. $15 a piece. And what did we learn today? Mike, what did you learn today?
All the popular opinions this week.
Many.
Yeah. No unpopular. Only popular from us this
Yeah.
week.
Well, we teased a couple.
But
But we didn't
we
get to
didn't
them.
get to them.
Tyler?
I think the biggest lesson we learned today is that Joe Peachy is the apple of all the students' eyes at the Urban Assembly for
Students.
He is hot
Media
stuff.
or whatever.
The
name
other
of the school
teachers.
He
is.
does look good.
Oh, it's by teachers.
Teachers voted, yeah.
And what's the name of the school again? In case I screwed it up.
What?
What's the name of the school?
Urban Assembly for Media Studies.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, good luck with that.
Amanda Dietrich, what did you learn today?
I learned that you all like Notre Dame too.
That's memorable.
Great. No, I know.
Joe,
Yeah.
what did you learn today?
I learned that Big Scott is cruising for a bruising.
And Mike, what did I learn today?
Drubers Moobers.
Yeah.
Coming to you soon.
Coming to...
I'm sorry, Big Sky. I didn't mean to put you out.
No, that's hilarious.
Thank you,
Joe's going to lay the crack down on him.
thank you for tuning in this week. We'll catch you back next weekend. Appreciate it.
Good luck.